In Essay 2 of the Preemptive Mirror Framing series, I'm going to talk about the psychological machinery behind the mirror. So when someone accuses another person of something they themselves are about to do, it's easy to label it as hypocrisy. But hypocrisy doesn't explain the sophistication of this maneuver. It's not merely saying one thing and doing another. It's a psychological sleight of hand where projection, fear, and control converge to create a convincing false narrative before the truth has a chance to emerge. Preemptive mirror framing operates like a psychological domino effect. Once the accusation is launched, a series of internal and external mechanisms lock into place, protecting the accuser's image while clouding the audience's perception of reality. So first, projection. That's the first layer of deception. At its core, preemptive mirror framing is an act of projection, the psychological process of attributing one's own unacceptable impulses, motives, or behaviors to someone else. It's as if the accuser subconsciously recognizes their own guilt but can't tolerate it, so they hurl it outward before it has a chance to be seen. But in the manipulative version, projection isn't just a defense mechanism, it's a strategy. By accusing others first, the accuser flips the narrative so that any later exposure of their wrongdoing can be dismissed as revenge, coincidence, or confusion. As an example, you're just saying that because I called you out first. It's the perfect narrative shield. The projection doesn't just disown guilt, it weaponizes it. Number 2, framing. The architecture of perception. Framing is one of the most powerful and often invisible forces in communication. It shapes how we interpret everything that follows. By framing an opponent or critic as untrustworthy, corrupt, or vindictive, the accuser plants a seed in the audience's mind. Anything this person says later should be doubted. Once that mental frame is set, truth struggles to find traction. Even when clear evidence emerges, it's filtered through suspicion. The accuser's earlier framing has preloaded the audience with doubt, bias, and emotional investment. This is why preemptive framing is so potent. It gets there first. The first interpretation we hear tends to stick. Psychologists call this the primacy effect, and propagandists have relied on it for decades. Whoever defines the story first usually defines how the story will be remembered. Number 3, timing and emotional hijacking. The preemptive aspect of this tactic is psychological timing at its most manipulative. Before the audience has had a chance to observe anything objectively, the accuser injects emotion, fear, outrage, betrayal into the conversation. Emotion, especially anger or fear, narrows cognitive bandwidth. When people feel emotionally charged, their ability to process information critically drops. The result is a reactive mindset where judgment is replaced by loyalty to the first story that made emotional sense. The accuser exploits this by flooding the audience with emotion before evidence. Once emotional commitment forms, subsequent facts struggle to dislodge it. The human brain values coherence more than accuracy. It wants to believe it already knows what's happening. Number 4, gaslighting by inversion. Once the projection and framing are in place, the next move is inversion, turning the truth upside down. The accuser claims victimhood, reframes criticism as persecution, and casts those who question them as aggressors. This is where preemptive mirror framing merges with gaslighting. The more the accused defends themselves, the more guilty they appear under the accuser's frame. It's a no-win scenario. Silence is interpreted as confirmation, while protest is spun as defensiveness. This psychological trap not only confuses observers, it destabilizes the target, often leading them to question their own memory, motives, or clarity. Over time, this erosion of confidence can isolate truth-tellers and embolden deceivers. Why this works: the audience's cognitive shortcut. The success of this tactic depends on an audience's natural desire for simplicity. Most people don't have the time or cognitive energy to verify every claim they hear, so they rely on heuristics, mental shortcuts like, the person who accused first must have had evidence. The one defending themselves probably did something wrong. Preemptive mirror framing exploits these shortcuts by appearing early, loud, and confident. The accuser gains the psychological advantage of perceived authority, while the accused inherits the burden of proof. And we wrap up this essay with the invisible hand on the narrative scale. When we understand the psychological machinery behind preemptive mirror framing, projection, framing, timing, and emotional hijacking, it becomes clear why this tactic is so effective and so dangerous. It doesn't just distort perception, it manufactures consent for deception. Recognizing it requires slowing down our reactions and asking a simple but powerful question. Who benefits from me believing this? Awareness of this question interrupts the manipulator's rhythm. It turns the mirror back towards its source, where the truth has been hiding all along.